Since its debut 21 years ago in 1998, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has spawned 19 international variants, including the US edition, which has run for the past 20 years. The show has awarded the titular $1 million prize to 12 people, but sometimes it's just as much fun to watch tragic failures. Leaving the show with no prize money is known as a llama, but no matter what you call it, today we're looking at 10 people who left empty-handed, including our number one contestant, and you won't believe what he did before going on the show. Before we get into today's video, make sure you show some love for Top 5 Best by taking a moment to smash that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe, and last but not least, share this video with your friends. Now, let's get started. Number 10. Claudia Perry.
I'm here with Claudia Perry from Evanston, Illinois. She says with the money she wins today, she's planning to get 3 very specific tattoos. But first,
Claudia Perry of Evanston, Illinois sure tried hard and it wasn't for nothing. She made it all the way to the $3,000 question. But the question that took her out was an odd one to say the least. Claudia was asked, which of these is a guy-friendly version of a popular fruity cocktail made by mixing orange juice with beer instead of with the usual champagne? A. Martini, B. Manmosa, C. Daiquiri, or D. Bloody Gary? All of which are incredibly creative drink names. However, a Manmosa is famously a combination of champagne and orange juice, so it would stand to reason, with some deductive reasoning, that the answer would be B. Manmosa. But Claudia went about it a different way. She ruled out A and C, saying that a Martini was just stupid and a Daiquiri was creepy. This left her with Manmosa and Bloody Gary. Sadly, paying more attention to the appeal of the word and never stopping to consider the ingredients, she settled on Bloody Gary. I can't help but think that using the audience could have saved her a lot of hardship. Millionaire wasn't her first quiz show though, as she was also a 4-time Jeopardy champion by season 13, and would go on to appear many more times on that show. Number 9. Chase Samson.
And I understand, Chase, that you flew in last night. You didn't get here till 3 in the morning, and you haven't slept a wink, huh?
No, I pretty much have coffee flowing through my veins right now.
Do you really?
College student Chase Samson appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on October 27, 2006. But he was nervous. After all, this was a big opportunity for him to walk away with some serious cash. With his nerves eating him alive and his flight arriving in the middle of the night, Chase didn't sleep a wink and showed up at the studio at 3 a.m. In his own words, he had coffee flowing through his veins. When Meredith Vieira hit him with the first question, it was this. Homeowners buy surge protectors to protect their possessions from unexpected surges of what? A. Electric current, B. Water flow, C. Air pressure, or D. Buyer's remorse. Chase answered confidently, and all in one sentence. I'll say B. Water flow. Final answer. And after a palpable moment of reflection, he immediately freezes and says, wait! He sits in pure shock afterwards as the light changed color and reveals that his answer was wrong. Something he clearly already knew. In this case, the lack of sleep had obviously caught up with him, and it's sad to see poor Chase defeated by himself. Number 8. Kevin Brown.
You know the rules, you know the lifelines. You ready to play?
Yes, I am.
All right, then put your pants on. Let's play.
Hailing from Troy, New York, Kevin Brown got his turn in the hot seat on December 7, 2009. Unfortunately, it'd be short-lived, and when he reached the 1,000 question, it fell apart. The question was, "And many more" is a line commonly sung at the end of what traditional ditty? A. Old MacDonald, B. Jolly Good Fellow, C. Happy Birthday, or D. Home on the Range? While most people were probably able to pick out the correct answer immediately, those who couldn't likely grew up where the song didn't exist. Kevin, however, committed wholeheartedly to Jolly Good Fellow, choosing it and declaring it as his final answer all in one sentence. Unfortunately, the answer was Happy Birthday, and even as Meredith begins to console him, he still doesn't appear to grasp that his answer was incredibly wrong. Needless to say, when it comes to questions, he won't be getting many more. Number 7. Chris Maza. Only minutes after Kevin Brown left the hot seat, Chris Maza took it over. Chris was a resident of Reading, Pennsylvania, and he would be seated across from Meredith for even less time than Kevin. Per contemporary rules, Chris's very first question was a dictionary question worth $500, and he would have 15 seconds to answer it. Perhaps feeling the time crunch, he panicked, or maybe he was just taken off guard. His question was this. Slightly inebriated is a common definition of which of these words? A. Milky, B. Watery, C. Beery, or D. Jello Shotty? Sheer word association should lead most folks to C. Beery. However, Chris didn't go with that answer. He hadn't heard the term inebriated before, and he froze. All in good spirits though, as he gracefully accepted his short stay. Perhaps there was just bad karma in the studio that evening. Number 6. Jennifer Starks.
All right, now it's time to meet 10 new people who want to become self-made millionaires, and they are Jennifer Starks.
In March of 2002, Jennifer Starks of Bowling Green, Kentucky, beat the fastest finger question to earn her the spot in the hot seat. Once there, she only answered 2 questions before one came along that stopped her in her tracks. For $300, then host Regis Philbin asked her, clothespins are designed to help with what household task? A. Washing clothes, B. Drying clothes, C. Ironing clothes, or D. Preventing snoring. While she wasn't too far off, close doesn't count for much on a game show. In a moment of absent-mindedness, Jennifer picks A. Washing clothes. Unfortunately, clothespins more specifically help with drying the clothes. Jennifer immediately realizes what she's done, but it's too late, and instead of $300, she walks away with a million regrets. Number 5. Sarah Aurora.
Let's play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Sarah Aurora took the stage in October of 2018, in the post-hot seat era. It had been a while since someone had left empty-handed. But when Chris Hansen posed the first question to Sarah, that's just what happened. Her opening, $500 question was this. Deep enough that the ball doesn't generally go in, hit the bottom, and bounce out, what is the minimum depth of a regulation golf hole? A. 4 inches, B. 4 feet, C. 4 miles, or D. 4 light years. Unlike many other entries, she didn't seem to succumb to pressure. Rather, she talked out the question, and made a really weird Star Wars reference before deciding that, quote, my gut's telling me B, I'm gonna go for it. Well, Sarah may want to see a doctor because her gut is way off. Since making this terrible, terrible mistake, the internet has been pretty rough on Sarah, with many calling her the dumbest contestant in the show's history. This might be kind of harsh, and certainly, she can't believe that holes on a golf course are actually 4 feet deep. Can she? Number 4. Brenton Andrejic.
When I remember watching Millionaire as a little kid with Regis hosting the show, and it was such a phenomenon.
Brenton was a med student from Jarrettsville, Maryland, who was heavily influenced by the show at a young age. Perhaps it was his passion for knowledge that led him to overthink the very first question Chris Harrison asked him. The Maryland resident appeared on the show on October 14, 2015, and left empty-handed after the following question. Snapping selfies in kitchens you can't afford and taking a meatball break are 2 things BuzzFeed says every 20-something does on their first trip where? A. To Paris, B. To London, C. To Rome, or D. To IKEA. It seems that Brenton probably wasn't in touch with the average 20-something after sinking his formative years into a pursuit of collegiate knowledge. There's nothing wrong with book smarts, but there is no denying that Brenton probably wouldn't have benefited from a few more hours on Instagram. After all, his answer was Rome, and it should have been IKEA. Of course, another ingredient is definitely the reversal of the show's typical question format that generally starts players with 3 possible answers and a joke answer. Unfortunately, in this case, the one thing that seemed the most out of place was actually the correct one. Number 3. Loie Vu.
And you may have my favorite name of any contestant ever. This is the 8th season. This is Loie Vu.
The contestant with one of the more charming names on our list, Loie Vu, took the hot seat on January 19, 2010, and started with a pretty routine question. The outcome, however, was anything but routine. After she and Meredith had spoken for a moment, she was ready to face the first question. When attacked by predators, which of these animals will often activate a large gland known as an ink sac? A. Cheetah, B. Squid, C. Owl, or D. Paris Hilton. Now, clearly, most people would not hesitate to answer this question. And in all fairness, Loie didn't hesitate at all. However, her answer wasn't what anybody expected. Owl, C. Final answer. As soon as the word illuminates, she gasps, going into pure shock. The trembling Loie remains completely awestricken the remainder of her time on stage, until they cut to commercial. First, Meredith sweetly reminds the viewers that, quote, this happens sometimes. It's very unfortunate. It's almost impossible not to have sympathy for Loie as you watch the pure horror wash over her face. Better luck next time. Number 2. Elle Rose.
Welcome to the show. You guys ready to play Millionaire today? All right, me too.
In April of 2016, Elle Rose appeared across from Chris Harrison to prove that she wanted to be a millionaire. And unlike most of our entries on the list, she wasn't overcome by a case of the first question nerves. She actually used every single lifeline and then lost on the 4th question. Never has anybody fought so hard to fall so early. Nonetheless, the question that took her down wasn't necessarily a gimme. A UPenn Wharton School study found that people perceive men as 13% stronger and an inch taller when they have a what? A. Handlebar mustache, B. Lip piercing, C. Shaved head, or D. Ponytail. Apart from being a very obscure statistic, it doesn't offer much hope for questions to follow. Elle understandably chose A. Handlebar mustache. Unfortunately for her, the correct answer was C. Shaved head. Honestly, there's a very slim chance that she would have guessed that, and with all her lifelines gone, well, she didn't stand a chance.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. Paul Weir Galm. Perhaps what is worse about Paul isn't even what he did on the show, but how he prepared for the show. Paul and his wife were successful attorneys when they found out they were going to appear on Millionaire. Rather than bone up on their Greek literature and science facts, they decided to quit their job, drain their savings, and travel the world. But how would they be able to make back the money? On the show, of course. So on January 23, 2006, he sat down with Meredith Vieira to win back his money. And the first question she asked him was, which of these phrases is a common way of saying, I can't take it anymore? A. That's the last stick. B. That's the last leaf. C. That's the last straw. Or D. I'm moving to Canada. So we should pretty much be grateful that he didn't pick D. But all at once, he answered with complete confidence, A. That's my final answer. Oh, I mean that's... Oh. And it's absolutely cringy to watch him realize his grave mistake, and you can well imagine that he was regretting a few of his travel expenses at that moment. With just so much at stake, Paul takes the number 1 spot on our list of contestants that llamaed out of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.